This is a Revopoint Range. It's new and it's available on pre-order right now. Join me on a journey through the clouds to see what this thing can do and what it's useful for. 3D scanning is something I've been looking into for a while, but I've not tried it yet, so bear in mind here that although I may have watched a lot of other people using a 3D scanner, this is the first time I've used one myself. The Revopoint Range is a scanner designed for larger objects, larger meaning not small things like trinkets or whatever. It says it's meant for furniture, vehicles and people, but I think the spec sheet says anything bigger than 5 centimeters. I would say a little larger than that, but I did try down to that size. We'll talk about that later. That's not to say it can't be used on smaller objects. Most of the things I tried on are on the smaller side for reasons that will become obvious later, but you will struggle to use it for anything, say, mobile phone size or smaller. So how does it work, I ask to nobody in particular, just so I can set up the prompt so that I can answer that question. Well, I'm glad you didn't ask. I have actually got no idea how it works. It's something to do with infrared lasers and lenses, and it's also got colour camera. But what I meant to explain is how do you use it? It's compatible with computers and phones, and if I show you the box here, you can see that it comes with attachments for both. It's got a phone attachment, a clamp, and it's got a tripod. This thing is actually a battery, which can be used as a tripod extension as well, or a hand grip. It powers the unit but not the phone. It seems to last ages. The cable here is for a phone, and as far as I can tell, it splits the power out so it only goes to the scanner, and the phone is powered by its own battery. So this doesn't drain the device unnecessarily, and it seems to last ages. I would say well over an hour. In my tests. There is another cable included, and this is for connecting to a PC via a USB, presumably 3 port, judging by the connector, because for what it's worth, it seems like this is the standard, if somewhat hilarious, USB 3 micro connection. But it's got screws to hold it in, which is useful. There's software for Windows and Android. I don't use anything else at the moment, so I tried both of those. I understand that the software for Mac, Linux, iPhone are all available, but I don't have those or I'm not using those. Both the software for the phone and the computer work fairly similarly, or at least on the same general process, and we'll go into that in a moment. The actual scanning process is something you need to learn and practice and get good at, and that came as somewhat as a shock to me, at least how hard it is to become good at scanning things properly. I guess most scanners are broadly the same here. It's going to be the same skills you need to apply. You're trying to move the scanner in a predictable manner around the piece, and you might think, oh, I could do that, it's easy. It's really not. The software is trying to make sense of the things you're showing it by recognising parts it's already seen and trying to link those and add them to the new parts that you're showing it. This is done visually by showing you on screen the dot cloud that it has previously built or that it is building on the fly, and the new parts it recognises, they show in green with relation to those it knows. It's a good job it does this because quite often, especially with challenging conditions, which I'll mention in a moment, it can completely lose track of the part. And bearing in mind that unlike most computer-based recognition methods, like, take a scanner for example, or a photograph, this has no idea how large or the geometry of the thing you're scanning. It has no boundaries, so it can hilariously sometimes think that the thing you're scanning that might be small could be the size of a statue in the park or a truck. It can't know what you're putting in. So that sometimes gives some hilarious results as it misinterprets the geometry. So what doesn't it like then? I spoke of challenging conditions. Those are twofold, essentially. Firstly, it hates black objects. Black objects essentially don't exist to the scanner, or at least totally black objects don't. I guess they aren't infrared reflective, and adding more light, as in visible light, really doesn't change that. It doesn't see them. But it sees them so badly that you can use that to your advantage, and if you have all the surroundings and anything that's holding the piece up in black, then it just looks like the item's floating in the air, which is useful as long as the object you're scanning itself isn't black. There is a dark mode which improves it somewhat, but for things like this Monoprice Mini Delta, it's too black. No amount of light or positioning was making any difference here. It can't see it. Secondly, it hates overly reflective objects, but to be honest, it's better at scanning these. For example, the white shiny plastic of a printer. Yes, this is a printer reveal. What do we have here? This is a Core XY. But the white plastic is absolutely fine. It can scan that perfectly well. Black plastic, it absolutely would not be able to scan. So oddly shiny things are less of a challenge than black things, which I wouldn't have expected, but there it is. Solutions? Yeah, you can get specialist sprays for this, and that solves both problems. But I'm a genius and I didn't buy the specialist spray because I read online that you can use dry shampoo or talc. So I got some of this dry shampoo, and how does anyone use this on their hair? And if you do use it on your hair, what does your house look like? Are you going outside to use it? I'm not judging you, but half the room had a layer of white powder so thick afterwards that it left imprints when I picked things up. I'm not going to say what it looked like, but yeah, it was quite a clean-up job. However, spraying this stuff on is genuinely effective. It made a huge difference. What was an invisible delta became ultimately a fairly easily scannable object. And if you're wondering about the zits on the delta, these are the provided stickers, and there is a mode in the software for this. I, however, couldn't get on with this mode. I couldn't even get one decent scan with these, and I think part of the reason is because it doesn't work on the dark mode. But honestly, that's kind of a relief, given that these stickers aren't cheap. It's definitely more beneficial to spray the part and cheaper. However, I think a lot of things exist that you would want to scan, but you absolutely do not want to spray anything on. You don't want to coat them in rice flour. How would you get that off? That is what the dry shampoo is, by the way. It is broadly rice flour. I also tried the talc. You can apply that with a brush, and it does work just as well. I don't know if it's any less messy. I think it is if you're careful. The scanner for some reason really likes soft toys and doesn't require any special treatment to scan those. It scans them perfectly every time. There is a turntable in the premium package. You may have noticed that I've been using a turntable. Well, I had an old turntable I made which is 3D printed, and it's not great with heavy things. It just jams because it's not powerful enough. So I bought a new one off Amazon, which is supposed to handle 10 kilograms, or is it 20? I can't remember. I don't know. It can't handle a person. Revopoint actually sells a people-sized turntable that apparently can take either 100 or 200 kilograms. I would absolutely recommend that you buy that turntable if you can, if it's in stock. It costs a bit more, but an equivalent turntable on Amazon is $100 minimum. It is a lot easier to scan just about anything if you can mount the scanner on a tripod and spin the item round automatically. Sure, if you don't want to scan heavy things, then you could use the turntable I bought, and it works just fine. I will link it below, but obviously it's got a much lower weight limit. I don't think scanning things on a turntable particularly works any better functionally. It's just a lot easier to do than trying to contort yourself around an object, especially if you have a rather full room and you can't get all the way around something, like here. The software gives you plenty of tools to edit the resulting mesh cloud once you've finished the scan, and I won't go into it. Actually, I think I will make a second video on my second channel about all this. The second channel is called Found in Tech, which is hilarious. I think it would be a longer and possibly more boring video, which is why I'm going to put it there. I used the Revo Scan 4 software, but there's a new beta Revo Scan 5 which came out, which seems a lot better and less clunky, so I actually switched to that and definitely found it to be better. There's still a learning curve to figure out what I'm supposed to do in the software. I actually found it harder to figure out how to use Revo Scan 5. Maybe they're going to improve that, I don't know. Look out for that video, though, I guess, if you're interested in that side of the process, especially if you've ordered one of these things. And I'll also go into more about what does and doesn't scan and how you can deal with that, if that's helpful. I guess one of the big questions that you might have about this scanning thing is, can I just scan and print stuff? Absolutely-ish. You can export your results to STL, and you can load it straight into a slicer. And depending on what your expectations are and the prevailing geometry, you usually can print at least something recognisable. But I don't see this as the primary use. You need to have something called skill. if you want to put the results of your scans to good use, at least if you want to go further than just the equivalent of 3D photocopying things, which, generally speaking, is not going to give you that good a result. And skill is where I want to end this, because that's a thing I don't have. Certainly not where CAD is concerned, and especially a lot of these items you would be wanting to put them into a sculpting package, or maybe Blender. I enjoyed this journey into scanning things, not least because it's something I've never done before, and it's something that I've been looking forward to playing with, and I think the scanner will be useful for me in the future, so I will most likely be covering it, including it in future episodes, and whether this is going to be something that becomes more popular, I really can't tell. If you are interested in the scanner, then there's links below. Bear in mind that this is, or rather was, a Kickstarter product, so all the usual caveats apply. It does seem to be in pre-order now, though, so you're buying directly. Please comment, as always, with whatever you feel like below, and I will see you next time with presumably a review of this thing. Thank you for watching.